welcome to Infamous MCP. This is Brandon, or Parental Abandonment on Discord.
This is Josh. I go by Grubelzog on Discord.
This is CJ. I go by Nitro Zeus on Discord.
This is Zach. I go by maybe CJ on Discord.
Uh-oh, only one of you guys has CJ in their name.
Dun dun dun!
Oh god. Alright, welcome back for another riveting episode of Infamous. As always, links in the show notes. We're jumping right into it this week. We're going to wrap up our 2025 Challenger Pack talk. Last time we're going to talk about the missions. Hopefully soon we'll have new missions to talk about. And lots of news. Anyway. So before we start recording, me and Zach were having a conversation about mats. So we were talking about the importance of, I guess, putting a number in perspective. And so you were talking about how the average threat value of the missions were for the Reds. I think it was 17.6 and the Blues was like 17.8.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think a lot of people look at that and go, well, you're either going to play 17 or 18 points most of the time, which isn't wrong in this example because there are a lot of 17s and I think a few 18s. But if I told you that, like, we're going to flip a coin and so your average is 0.5 heads or 0.5 tails, well, if you bet on 0.5, you're going to lose because it's impossible to get that, right? And so the deviation standard is very important. So in this, our range is 16 to 20. So obviously the average is going to be around 18. Now, obviously the sample size is much heavier. If you had to pick a point total to like build a list for, obviously 17 makes more sense than 18. Even though the average would tell you 18 is more common, which is kind of not true. And then moving over into the scoring element as well, it was 3.9 was the blue average score.
Yes.
Okay, which I think that's actually fairly true. I think there's a lot of 4s. But given that there's only 1 5 and there's
right
2, well, I guess there's 2 3s, right? There's intrusions and meteors.
Intrusion. That's right.
And so there's 3 of 12 missions aren't 4.
Yes.
So obviously 4 is a safe bet in that example. But if you're like, I want to play 3s, you can't even field a whole list with 3-point scorers. Not to mention, obviously not a whole list of 5-point scorers because there's only 1. So the context in like the weight of the data, I think, is really important here. Not just saying that like 17.6 is the number. Well, it matters in context, right? So that's just what I want to bring up before we get into all the numbers. So, does anybody have any interesting points about this mission pack that maybe we haven't experienced prior, or anything specifically about the numbers, like the statistics, the averages?
I mean, they did this. Was it this rotation? They cut 15 out of the game completely.
Correct.
Yeah.
Researcher going was the last one. Prior to that, Senators going away was the first 14-point mission.
Yeah.
Back when it was a legitimate 3-card Monty.
Yeah. Well, I just think that's interesting that they decided to change the bounds of the game, like they get rid of the lowest bounds.
I think Aaron believes this a lot. He's unfortunately not here to talk about this, but as you move farther and farther from the center of field and you get more towards the outskirts of pushing the limits of what your game can do, like balance is harder and harder as that stretches. And so, for example, like Judgment is like Aaron's primary game right now, and every model effectively has the same point cost of 1 because you get every model is equal value. Nobody costs more than another model. And so then going to MCP, when I was like, well, what if one of your models was 3 models? Well, how would you come about balancing that? And then you look at models like Thanos, you're like, well, I see where this problem is coming from. You're trying to make one model the equivalent of 3 models in play, and it's just hard to do that. Like when Thanos first came out, you could play 10-point Thanos because there was 2 2-point stones, and that was the way everyone played him. Thanos cost 10 points when he released. Space Stone, Time Stone, 10-point Thanos. And not only was it playable, it was arguably the best model in the entire game. And then when you put it in the framework of the list he played with, it was the best model in the game. So it's just really hard to do that. And then we talk about models like Bullseye and Bob and Wong. How do you balance a 2-point model? Well, when my model is worth half as much as yours, but still contributes. So anytime we get to that point where we're stretching the bounds of the game, 14 points obviously they thought was too hard to balance. 15 points, same reason. And I think that was a lot to do with the Asgard list finally pushed that over the edge for them. When they saw that there was a package that they had repeatedly seen, specifically on Researcher, because not only was it the lowest point total, but it is the easiest mission to game for because it's the simplest mission. There's only 1 point you have to defend. If you can do that, it's worth almost as many points as the other mission combined. So obviously that's something they were looking at pretty hard. I think it makes sense to start bringing it in and start focusing the design space on a more balanceable portion of the game. Sorry, that was super wordy.
No, that's I think that's a pretty succinct explanation of what I was kind of seeking. But yeah, I mean, it's good in a way, I guess. It allows them to, like you said, it probably allows them to balance stuff a bit better and it stop having such wild swings. But at the same time, I feel like, I don't know, the design mentality that went into a 15-point mission, I still liked. Like, I still think Researcher was an interesting mission, and it's just losing that kind of design mentality, like losing ease. I think that's one of the, like, if we're still talking about like overarching feelings or impressions, losing ease was kind of a choice that I find interesting. Would be the best way to describe it.
Yeah, like there's technically one E still, but it's an extract, so it's not really, and it's also viewed by most, mainly Aaron, as one of the worst extracts in the game. So
Yeah,
it's definitely a divisive mission at best. So yeah, losing effectively all of the E's out of the game definitely changes the aspect as well, and that's something that doesn't show up in the numbers. Obviously, we still have the scoring average, but that doesn't tell you about the deployment. And all we harped on last week was deployment, especially on blues, is the most important thing, bar none. And so when you take out all the E's and replace them with spread out missions like Wedding Party, it's just hard to view that in the same context, right? When it drops into the bucket as a 1/12 of a victory point in the average, it's not the same at all.
I think talking about shapes, that's what has been most interesting to me is how many different shapes they've come up with and like deployments.
Mhm.
So there's still 4Fs and 4Ds, but other than that, there's a whole lot of things that there's only one crisis that has that setup, and so there's just a lot of deviation now in maybe like scripting plays at the beginning. I mean, you still can obviously if it's your list, but like because each crisis setup, there's such a difference in them. That added a more interesting aspect in the game where I felt like before we had a bunch of E's, we had just as many D's, if not more. Like it was a lot more standardized formatting of the shapes, and now there's a whole wide variety of different shapes.
Mhm.
yeah, but not really.
Yeah, because
Like,
one
Some
of
of them
them's
were
like
like an F without a middle,
right versus a B,
Yeah.
which is very similar deployment. How about this? Do you guys think you like it more with the variety of like slightly different tweaked missions versus just having a lot of the same deployments with like cookie cutter throwaway mission rules? Would you prefer it more like 2025 or the previous pack?
I think I would like 2025.
More varied.
I like the variants of the missions. I don't think they're always written well, and I don't think they are always thought through in their design. But I like when missions do different things, just from a freshness perspective. Don't get me wrong. I like the game enough that I'm okay with. We put it down, we score points. Nothing exciting happens throughout the mission, but it changes up game to game. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
You get the point I'm trying to
Yeah.
make. So I just think that you got to use some of those shapes more. You got to bring some back or use some of the shapes or something because right now I just feel like I keep playing in squares. Everything is just a square. It's just
a slightly different square.
2-2, and the square is shorter or closer or farther, and
Well, I mean that might say a lot about the missions you're picking.
that is also the missions I think.
Well, you get to pick half. You only get
Yeah.
to pick half the mission.
True, but I mean, if you're playing a lot of squares, that's either you're always
I mean-
choosing reds, and maybe you should choose blues because you want to play on not squares, or
I mean, the
you're
Reds are the
playing
ones
too
that
many
are
squares.
probably- I mean,
I think a lot of people tend to choose reds when they win prio, but that's kind of what I'm saying. I know
Yeah.
the traditional logic would say choose reds, but if your list really doesn't want to play on squares, maybe choose blues. Like in context, it might be more important that you choose the deployment shape.
is there only 2 that aren't? There's 4 that aren't squares technically.
Well, intrusions, meteors, scoundrels,
And well, this is it.
Counters is kind of squarey.
deadline is technically a square, but it's turned at an angle, so it's a diamond.
Yeah, it's a
Then-
rhomboid. We could
yeah.
replace square with rhomboid. There we
Sure.
go.
So but it depends on what Josh means by square. Are you okay on diamonds, or are diamonds just squares?
Diamonds are just squares.
Okay, then that's acceptable.
Rotate
So
it.
there's at least 3. Admittedly, one of them you would never want to play. I guess also Fisk. Fisk is not a square; it's a line.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we want to play lines. So we have intrusions, we have meteors, and we have Fisk
And wedding party.
and wedding party. Yeah, there's 4 lines and then a bunch of squares
8 squares. Yeah.
and 1 X.
Yeah. I mean,
Is an X just a broken square? Oh my god. Oh,
I think
the
it
cat
becomes
with the
very
flowers like.
square,
"Grr."
yeah, no, I think that's a good point to make though. We've lost. I mean, technically, there's more unique deployments now, but at the same time, there's a lot of deployments that are basically just like.
I mean, I can draw a dick on a table and tell you it's unique shape, but like, if it doesn't matter if it doesn't work.
Yeah, well, that's the thing because I feel like that might be one of those like you don't realize it till it's gone type things.
Mhm.
Like, man, I could tell you how many times I got boned on Gamma, but these days I miss Gamma. I miss Gamma
Oh, I
bumpers quite.
hugely miss Gamma. Not because I wanted to play like fight them up in the middle, because sometimes you didn't want to, but I think
No.
it made people make choices because the mission was impactful enough to really matter. A, there's the damage component, and B, at any point, if you let your opponent gain positioning on you, they can just start double moving people and flip the script and start scoring a lot of points. So you had to
Yeah, there's-
constantly monitor the game state and make actually important decisions. And then there's also times people just fucking NASCAR each other in the middle, and like that. If they want to do that, let them. You should
Yeah,
not
That
be
a lot.
inserting yourself into people's games and telling them how to play it if they're having fun. But
yeah, exactly. But like there is a component to Gamma and like to those E's that was just like interesting. I don't find like I feel like there's some interesting things in these mission packs and certainly some interesting combinations.
I will say
Um,
Demons was pretty dull, right? It's effectively a non-component, and
Yeah.
it just devolved to fighting. So I'll give people
Well-
if they didn't like Demons, that's fine. I
Yeah,
understand.
and Demons was also gameable because you would just bring like a bunch of incinerate immune people and then
Everyone says that. I don't know that it mattered. If you already had
Not
immune
really.
to incinerate people, sure. But when you're talking like, hey, look, Ghost Rider and fucking like and Bill. Oh, look, I made a lot of sacrifices here, guys. Like,
Yeah.
fuck off. Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
get it. But I feel bad saying that I was a Researcher fan. I really like the way Researcher played. I wish we had more missions like Researcher, because I know it's associated with people that just want to abuse the game or play nothing but attrition and never look at the scenario game. And I don't think that's what Researcher was. It was just
No.
the most abusable of the extracts we had.
Yeah, there's some egregious things you could do on Researcher depending on what list you brought, but at the same time, it was a check if I mean it's a random draw anyway, so you could but like at the same time you'd be like, oh well, I don't want to get blown out of the water by a scoring team. I can have a chance here. Like
Yeah.
there's a game plan I can formulate from Researcher that will slow down webs or slow down Hellfire, maybe enough to where I could beat them. I wish we could go. The data still might exist in Longshanks. We can go back and see actually how much that actually mattered.
I
But,
think it was the only thing that kept checks on like arguably the best models in the game is like
Yeah, well,
And-
that's the thing. I want to. It feels that way. I just don't know if I would like to find the empirical evidence that lets us corroborate
Mhm.
that.
the fact that there was at least a 1 in 3 chance in some games where your opponent wouldn't be able to steal your extracts
Great.
had made them leverage their list to be able to do something else.
Mhm.
Right.
And then as soon as Researcher goes away, I see the same usual suspects at top tables playing like, fucking voodoo in webs. I'm like, I wonder how that happened. Or like A-Force running nothing but Stealers and Bodyguards. Like, oh, I wonder how he won. It's unknowable how he got here. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know. I feel like we've got a lot of tools that we've seen before in Crises, and they've just decided to prune those out of the game and make
Yeah.
more like because a lot of these are just like vanilla. Like, hey, this is
Yeah.
just it's a red dot. You pick it up. This is a blue dot. You stand next to it.
And I'm generally okay with that. I don't want the mission to, again, interfere with me playing the game. If I
Right.
want to play a game with somebody, I want it to be X-Men versus Brotherhood or whatever we happen to be playing. It's like I want
Mhm.
that to be the headline. And then if it's
Yeah.
like footnote, bomb exploded next to my model, it's like, okay, that's acceptable. It was like 2 people ran in circles trying to avoid bombs while looking at each other. That's not what I want.
No, that's not a game. That's a
Yeah.
that's a tally race.
Right.
Who
It's
can make the most tally
you're
marks
putting me
first?
in a weird box and forcing me to perform some weird thing.
And
Anyway.
that's kind of that is a bit what I feel like with this. A lot of the time, it's like, okay, cool. Like they turned it like I get like it's a game about scoring points.
Yeah.
You could get rid of the IP. You can get rid of all the other rules besides picking up red dots and standing on blue dots. And it's at its base, it's a game about getting tally marks.
Mm-hmm.
But like I feel like with these crises, they're like the tally marks are very important, right?
But
Like,
also,
you have
they feel less flavorful than ever. Like,
yeah, it literally is
Yeah.
just like tally marks because it's just like cool. I need to because when you're thinking about the game, you're like, I need to get 3 points. There's 4 extracts. There's 2,
Mhm.
and it's just like okay, cool. But like, I don't have to worry. Like they wanted to remove the scripting part of the game, and then they just made it
Mhm.
way more scripty.
I mean, my argument is if you want to fix Researcher, just make it like Mayor Fisk and just give me 2 points.
How many is it normally?
It's just the 1 on Researcher normally, and then if you get it to the evac points, worth an extra 1.
That's what it's always make it 2.
Just put 2 extract tokens down, yeah, and we can just fight over.
Oh
Yeah, make it like Mayor Fisk, and it's like there's 2 points to fight over now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that it still has that Researcher. It suffered from the old 3-card Monty type thing. It's like the single point you need to get.
Yeah, and so that allows one person to have a really overpowered model just dominate the game. And
but if you have 2,
right? So there's 2, but you could also do it to where it's like the old, kind of like an E, but just do an extra point. And so you each have one that's like halfway in between you and your opponent, but like kind of offset. Kind of like that's the mission I'm thinking of. Scrolls. Kind of like Scrolls, where there's just barely offset, and just do that, but they're research tokens.
I mean, you could do it would be kind of like you could also do kind of like a Deadly Meteors deployment, but take away the middle one.
Yeah,
right?
You could do that. You could also do Inhuman Weapons deployment, and then do to where you're trying to get it to the far side, and so you have to move past each other trying to get your token to their side.
Yeah,
and you could even do it to where like, well, you can only score one of them, and your opponent has to score the other. And so it's like old Mystic Wakandan Herbs used to be. And so that way there is no, we'll just refuse flank forever. It's like, no, you have to get to your token and get it over there. And so you're like actually trying to like, do you try and skirt around each other and ships in the night, or do you try and fight through each other? Do you chase the guy as he's trying to get to his point? It would be really interesting. Anyway, we're very off topic at this point.
You said the word interesting. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly what the 2025 Challenger Pack is. Interesting. So, do we have any other observations of notable changes from one set to another? We have more unique deployments now. I would argue everyone agrees that, as an average, the mission special rules are less impactful and more like flat, which I personally like. I know that's not particularly for everybody, but I like that there's an even number of missions again. That has been missed by me.
That's actually a huge deal for me.
Yeah.
Because I think it was for a long time. Was it Red was favored? There's more.
No,
Reds.
Red was shorter. I'm pretty sure it was shorter. It was down 2 because of banned missions. Because Herbs got banned and Evacuation Effort got banned, and there was another one too.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. So with this mission pack thing, I do appreciate that there is a big block of like, hey, this is what the mission pack is going to be like this year, right? And no changes for the rest of the year. Seems on paper like a good idea, but since we play so like it's a fast game, right? I think that we could play a lot of MCP games in a year compared to like we could get 4 MCP games in when somebody's playing like an actual competitive Warhammer game potentially if you're going pretty quick.
I'd say it's usually 2 to 1.
Like 2 to 1, 2 games in. Okay, that's fair.
And that's just for like one of the games is going to go long, almost always. But
yeah, but like no changes at all to any of the mission packs for a whole year. I think this is the first year this has happened like this.
It's hard to say because there's been so many times they've like changed one little thing.
And well, that's what I'm saying.
But like I can't think of
change.
I can't think of anything that happened to the missions outside of Researcher getting restricted in the previous kit for like 2 years at least. It felt like forever.
They did do like it. Well, there's the part where they added Paranoia.
Mm-hmm.
And then they rotated missions before that, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, I want to say it was the original missions until the stones
they
got reworked.
Yeah, they did have a mission change because that's also when like senators got changed and stuff.
Yeah, then there was like when Legacy Virus came out, that was a
Yeah.
big change. Then the evacuation efforts got banned, and then they reworked everything, and Legacy went down to 6 points. And that was like the last mission pack. And from that point till Researcher got restricted, I don't think there was a change. Oh,
Yeah.
except for Herbs getting banned. I think Herbs got banned during that period. That might have
Uh,
happened before, actually. But-
Herbs was urban research or Herbs and evacuation were not in the game when we started playing.
Okay, then it was. I think it was like 2 years that pack basically went unchanged because it was the 2023 pack, and that pack was not buyable for a long time because it got put out of
Yeah.
production because they knew they were coming out with the 25 pack, and so that
Yeah.
kit was not purchasable for like over a year. And the whole time that pack was out, the missions didn't change at all, which I think it's fair that people were kind of burnt out on them and they wanted to shake things up. Overall, I'm happy with a lot of the general like philosophy ideas of this new pack. I like that there's some different deployments. I like that there's less impactful mechanics for the most part. I think there's a few exceptions to that.
Yeah.
I like that they've kind of tightened it up to get more of like a strict average. Because I think back in the day, it going from 14 to 20 was a bit much. Then they reined that in a little bit. They just did it again, bringing it up to 16. The variety of point scoring. I know you guys never played on Herbs, but before Juggernaut came out, Herbs was basically a maximum 4-point score mission. On the entire 6-turn game, you would score a maximum of 4 points off Wakandan Herbs. And that was on a good game.
Wow.
A lot of games you'd get 0. And so like it's a completely different world when you had an extract where you might not score it. It's like
That's still that sounds like a pain in the ass, but that's still like an avenue. That sounds interesting.
And for the majority of that time period, Scoundrels wasn't in the game, so the maximum points you could get off of a secure was Gamma. And so if you weren't playing Gamma, you were only going to get 4 points if you dominated the entire board. So you would have to completely wipe the board 4 times to win the game.
Oof.
And so it was just not possible, right? We're going to 6 rounds. And so I would attack the game with like you could play A-Force, like I'm just going to table you with A-Force. Because I'll just slowly move around the table and kill every model you have while moving in a death ball. And it's like, that's not even remotely close to a strategy you can play nowadays.
Yeah. See, I don't know. Because like we were talking, I think I can't remember if we were going into, but I think talking about certain combos of these missions is still interesting too. Because like there's some that feel really good, and then there's some that just feel bad.
Yeah.
Like Spider Infected still exists. That feels bad in general, but
I haven't played Spider Infected in forever. I think that's a bad sign because the people that want high scoring have abandoned it, which means that there's a problem because there's 3 better missions now.
Yeah.
It used to be the best.
But like still like you get one of those, an F and then F, that's 10 victory points. That's that's a 3-round game basically.
Yeah. I think it's comfortably a 3-round game. And there will be some like on closer matches that aren't blowouts, you'll see a lot of games go to turn 4, but it'll be like 14-8. And it's not a game.
It'll go to turn 4, and it's because
it is literally mathematically impossible to lose the game. And which is the most demoralizing round 4s when you're just like, I guess I'll move a couple models and then you can declare your victory.
Yeah, the spider person has the web line go around your neck, and he's like, "Yeah, you get 2 actions."
Mm-hmm.
That won't matter because I'll let you score 4 victory points this turn. I just need 1.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, but yeah, there's certain problems, but that's been in the game forever, kind of, right? How long has Scoundrels existed? Shit.
Scoundrels was a later mission, but not super late. It was before the new pack came out. It was in the previous pack, but it was like middle of the ground there.
It came out with Gambit and Rogue.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say
February
that's
2022.
It's only been in the game for like a third of the lifespan, I want to say.
February 10th, 2022 is when it came out.
That sounds right. Well, I guess it's actually about half now.
Mm-hmm. Jarvis, you just keep adding better and better tools.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the kind of thing too. I don't know. What if you have any wishes for this next mission pack, Brandon? What do you think they should be? Like, what's your biggest ask of AMG for this next one?
So throwing caution to the wind and just being honest about what I want.
You have a magic lamp, you can rub it.
I think if they're going to keep missions similar to what we have in this pack without just like scratching everything and starting from the beginning, I think they need to implement maximum scoring limits. Either you can do each mission has its own maximum scoring. So if you want to do scoundrels, that's fine. Just limit the maximum score to 3. Like for each point you get, you score 3. You score 1 victory point up to 3, and so it's still limit 5 total. But you can't go 4-1. You can't go 5-0. It's not possible. You should never have one half of your scenario result in 1/3 of the points you need to win the game. That should not be mathematically possible.
It's very possible.
Yeah. Half a turn of scoring should not be 1/3 of your total win.
To score 7 or 8 points on my first turn.
Yeah. I once scored 8-0 on Gamma on the first round, and it was not cool. Anyway.
Yeah, it's that specific scenario is typically always, I find, like a gotcha scenario too for your opponent, because they're just like, how many did you score? 8. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other option is just implement a maximum scoring for the round. And that would include, obviously stealing, because it's just normal scoring, but stuff like interrogate or Terrigen Miss, anything like that. Anything that gives you a victory point, you cannot score more than, let's say, 4 points a round. So if you get a maximum score of all 4 points, 4 rounds in a row, you win the game. But that's the only way. If they stop you on a single point, you're going to round 5. Now, that would mean that there's redundancies, because obviously a lot of the missions would have more than a 4-point max score. So if you were effectively scoring 5, they would have to stop you from scoring 2 points, get you back down to actual 3 points. But I think the easiest way would obviously just be reduce the scoring or increase the race. Like, get to a higher total, or just don't have a get to total. We're going to play 6 rounds, and at the end of 6 rounds, highest points wins.
That's what I was going to suggest too, is that I think the game needs to go to the 6th round.
I think the 6th
last time anyone's played a 6-round game?
The 6-round rule, or the first to 16 rule, has been a thing since the game was incepted in the core set. I think that was intended to be a mercy rule. I don't think it was ever intended to be this NASCAR race, like fucking funny car bullshit, where people are selling out completely. And admittedly, that's not happening as much right now. But people were selling out completely to get to 16 and ending the game early. I don't think that was ever intended. There's also no other way to do that. Like, there is no, like, oh, I killed half your list by turn 3, so we're done. Like, what? Like, there's plenty of game left to play, man.
Yeah, if you knew that you had to make it 6 rounds, I think it would change the dynamic for a lot of how you would play the game, too. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is wishing. We're wishing here.
I think you would also come to a lot more well-balanced list where you actually had more of an all-comers front, because you'd have to be able to play all aspects of the game. Because if you're always going to 6 anyway, all I would have to do, because if I know you're not going to run with me with scenario points, all I have to do is play super passive and not let you kill all my models. And there's no way, like, I'll just go up a couple points every round, and we'll end like 14-8 again on turn 6, but I'll just spend my entire time running away, and you won't get to fight me. So you have to have a well-balanced list on both sides, I think. So I think if there was one singular rule I could change, it would be the stop at 16. I think it would just play till the end, 6 rounds, see what's up.
Yeah, because I do feel like in the wide world of gaming, this is one of the very few games that has a mercy rule, kinda, right? Like, if you're playing fucking Warhammer, it's not like, shit, dude, I've scored 16 kills already. It's fucking round 3. I guess the game's over.
Yeah, you know what it actually feels like a lot is like the presidential election coverage when it's like, oh, so and so got to like the 161 or whatever, so we're done, and like there's still like five
76, bud. Left. That's the election, dog.
Yeah, is that what the number is? Yeah, it's just very weird. And it's like, oh, he's getting too close to the number. We're not gonna be able to stop him. It just feels weird.
Yeah, right. That's exactly what it fucking feels like when you're like, fuck, the spider people at 12 points. What do we do now?
And you're looking at the map, and like half the map is still gray. I'm like, how are you calling this? Like,
there's like 25 states still to score, guys, and they're like, well, that state's only worth 4 points. That state's only worth 12.
No one lives there.
You'd have to get both states.
Yeah, it's just odd.
That's a very good analogy, though, right?
And this is all assuming we're sticking to the crisis concept of the one extract, one secure, which I like. I think it's a cool, interesting way to do it.
Well,
they could also do a lot of things that we obviously do locally. We've talked about a lot, like the draft selection. You could also go to a higher number of mission selections. So that way it's more random and you're not targeting as many specific missions. Personally, I liked the old pack when it was like, there are 3 E's, there are 3 C's, there are 3 D's, there are 3, F's. And it's like, if you want to play F's, there's 3 F's to pick from, and they range in good to bad for you. But if you want that
Well, that's
deployment,
the
you can take it.
thing, though, is because like all the Fs are functionally the same.
I think they kind of are, but you could change the rules on them to not.
Oh,
be.
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you could make
right now.
You could
Right now
make
they're
one of them
the
like the worthy hammers. Then you could make one like spider infected, and then you could do cubes. Like that's an even spread of abilities that are
Yeah.
ranging from good to bad for each list. And so that way, if you want to sell out for shape over effect, that's fine. But you're gonna be bringing effects that are bad for you. And then
Well,
on the same side, if you
right.
want to go for effect over shape, you can take 3 different shapes that all have similar effects that are good for you. And so it actually builds a level of list building I think I really enjoy.
Yeah, the other thing that might be interesting, and this because they just tried it out at I think it was at Adepticon. They ran this format where it was like the paired blue and red.
Mhm.
Every round was an exact pair.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind having I don't know. I
Scripted
would like to
missions.
see it. Well, like paired missions, like
Yeah, where it's like I've curated this selection of missions that are going to
Well,
go together.
even further than that. You can like it's a paired set. Like
No, yeah,
the
this section
direct
had a
red.
bunch of missions that were meant to play together.
Yeah, and just like that, because I think it gives you a little bit more like they're like, oh, we will. And there's 2 missions that came in the War of the King set. They just said no,
Mhm.
this isn't. You can't play with these normally in standard because they're too weird for the other combos. And it's like,
Yeah, they're
well,
only meant to be played together. Yeah,
yeah, and it's like maybe seeing some of that would be cool because like I
I
think
think
there's a lot.
it's cool in like a one-off, but I don't think it works long haul in tournament
Well,
play.
that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
they'd have to do. That'd be a complete like fix of the system.
I know,
maybe.
and I think it's a cute thing they did for like a narrative event, but I really dislike that it is a concept for the entire mission pack. Like, why are they doing that for the whole challenger pack? Because as we've just seen, everyone just ignores it if it's not something that's actually repeatable for tournament play.
If you're not forced
Yeah.
to do it,
If you want to
do
do cool narrative missions, just do cool narrative missions.
Which is they did that already. They had like an event at Adepticon that had you just set missions just for that event as well.
Mhm.
I think it was maybe the team tournament. I can't remember exactly what it was, but basically it was just
a specific like
yeah, it was like X-Men
we're playing
themed.
in
Mhm.
this thing.
But whichever way it was going, I mean, it's they could do both. I mean, it time is they have a time constraint for stuff, but at the same time they can just come up with shit, right? And just be like, hey, we've made this document. This is narrative mission campaign 2. This is not none of these are going to be in standard. This is just for fun narrative event type things.
Sure, but again, that's if you don't have time to even curate your game, then you don't have time to make up fake mission packs.
So I was gonna talk about that too because I don't know exactly the makeup and what resources AMG has at their disposal, but I do have a theory that one of the reasons why this has been our down year in MCP because this has been a very important year for Legion.
Mm-hmm.
If any other, I don't know if this is being talked about anywhere, but it feels like since this is is this like 3.0 for Legion or like 2.0 for Star Wars Legion? 2.0. Yeah, it feels like this year has been the year of Star Wars Legion.
That's fine. I don't think they need to spend a lot of time on one game at a time. Like it's okay that they take a break from really focusing on MCP to then focus on Legion. And
well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like that might also be a contributing factor as well. So maybe, like I said,
good, bad, or indifferent, this is the pack that we got, right? So
for sure, yeah.
Just focusing on that, then obviously everyone's going to feel their own way about a mission pack, and I think I've been very vocal about not enjoying this one, but I think it's again has its own points, right? It's got its selling points.
There's good parts about this. I think mission balance has been a lot better, and I think that it was trending in the right direction. I think that if they continue working on stuff, I am thinking positively about the next mission pack. I think there's a good chance that they'll improve stuff. Because I think when this was released, I think everybody was really high on it. I mean, I don't think anyone was like, "Oh, this is going to be." I mean, they did probably release the worst mission possible in this one, but
I think the worst mission ever in the game is in this pack. That is correct.
Yes, yeah, I think that might be just a local feeling. I haven't seen a whole lot of people.
I think that's on both sides actually. On blue and red is the worst mission ever of their type.
Which did we decide the blue one was? Was that?
I think it's Scoundrels. You just can't have a 5-point secure. I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, that's been around for a minute.
I know. I think
Well,
I'm
the
the only
prob-
person on that bridge too.
No, because you're not wrong. It's the problem is they broke the rule of it's a secure. It's good for securing teams, and the ability is good for securing teams.
Mm-hmm.
So it's double good for securing teams.
Yeah,
If you have
the point
high
total's
scoring
also
mission,
good.
yeah,
Because
if you
you
have a
want high
high scoring
points,
mission,
high threat, high scoring, high defense.
Great.
Like it is everything one team wants.
great scenario rule.
Yeah.
You get cover, fantastic for defensive teams.
It's not even cover. It's like fake super cover. Like
Yeah.
we can be in base contact with each other, and I get cover from you.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, that's the thing. It should be like you have anti cover because you're being attacked by criminals or something. Or some, I don't know. I feel like that maybe I'm in La La Crazy Land where it's like if you have something that's good for securing teams, there needs to be a downside for that because you already have the heavy advantage of
I think that's
heavy
fair.
robotics.
Like
And then
I was
you're-
saying earlier, if you have 3 Fs in your list, at least one of them should have a secondary effect that's objectively bad for you. And
Yeah.
maybe you have one that's good, and that's kind of the variance you see from mission to mission. But that's how you also prevent super cookie cutter missions, right?
Yeah, there's just no trade off in Scoundrels, right?
Mm-mm.
You're not trading anything to bring it. You're just like, this is good for me. I can play it. I'll play it well.
Yeah, when you flip Scoundrels, one player at the table is objectively happy. The other person is objectively mad. Like there's times when you flip Legacy when you're like, I can do something with this. Like I've got the tools that I can, turn the tables on my opponent. Like, that does not happen in Scoundrels.
Yeah.
Like, the Immortal Hulk running at the team of Web Warriors or criminals does not care. Like he is still
Wow.
going to lose the game.
My character that's technically 2 characters fused together is not very happy that he can't stand in 2 spots at once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, overall, I think that this pushed the game into a better direction. And I am hopefully looking forward to the next one, that it continues that trend.
Okay, so I'm just going to take a look here at our deployments. Are we happy with the ratio of deployments? So we've got, this is between both secures and extracts, but we've got 2 Bs, 2 Bravos, 3 Charlies, 4 Deltas, 1 Echo, 4 Foxtrots, 1 Golf, 1 Hotel, 1 India, 1 Juliet, 1 Lima, 1 Mike, 1 November. These are all the specific ones. One.
They just added like a
one of
new
everything
one
else.
shape.
Yeah, all the weird shapes. Basically anything past, I believe it's I is all weird stuff.
Yes,
No,
including
J. Anything after oh no, everything after L. Anything after L is just made up crap.
Yeah, because L is senators, I think.
Correct.
H.
Are there any interesting, fun combinations of missions that you really like that maybe they're better than they are as a whole, as separate entities when you combine them together?
I mean, a classic, of course, is Legacy Virus, and just because they're both on Cs, maybe, but I really like Legacy Virus and Intrusions. I think it causes the game to start very quickly.
I would argue that it's probably the purest form of Intrusions when it just starts the fire immediately and burns through the whole game.
Oh yeah, that's why like as soon as those 2 missions get selected, you're just like, okay, cool. My planning now is turned into let's see how the game actually starts getting moved. There's less build up and this weird because sometimes on a Fisk hammers type game, everyone's real cagey to get started. You're kind of do we score the hammers now? Do we wait? But with Intrusions and Legacy Virus, that game is a immediate start to what I think makes MCP fun.
Okay, Josh, do you have a fun pairing?
In a similar theme, I find Hammers Intrusions to be an absolute delight.
I knew you were going to say that.
Because you grab it and then you run it each other in the middle, but there is enough finesse from intrusions that it makes for an interesting game. Especially because we don't really see a kaiju meta anymore, but a kaiju doesn't need a hammer, and so they can just run up and be like, "Cool, I'm gonna pop between these intrusions, hopefully, and do some hammer hunting." And I've definitely had games where I've had 2 or 3 hammers stacked on someone. They've just got to come over to me, and I'm like, all right, well, let's see what you can do. I've got 2 health and 4s on defense across the board, so there was nothing I was going to be able to do short of running into a corner, which is cowardice. To see
CJ's wheelhouse over there.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, listen, I am very well known for not playing cowardly in most games.
Only when you're given the
Most.
option to flee do you take it.
I specifically spent points to be able to flee.
Yeah,
Mhm.
only when the option exists do
Yeah.
I immediately take it.
I was gonna say another fun one too. I think Zach might have played this one just today. Was it Deadline Senator, Zach, that you played on?
Deadline and Inhuman Weapons.
Oh, Inhuman Weapons, sorry, Senators. But I do like Deadline and Senators a lot.
Just because there's so many interaction opportunities.
Oh, just because it's crazy. There's so much. It's kind of the opposite, but
You know who
Of the way
doesn't
you
like
listed.
that combination?
Parker.
Josh.
Oh,
His poor Loki had so many free damage dealt to him.
Nonsense.
I won't drop it.
I will die first.
Yeah.
I need this
and-
point.
Listeners, I'll let you know. I will die. I will. Force
I
you
think
to kill me.
I think his
will-
Daredevil took 5 damage in one round through not attacks.
Just
It was like Juggernaut slid into him, then interacted, and then I can't remember who it was. I think it was another one of my characters that does an auto damage. I can't remember who it was.
It
Damn
was
it.
something, and
Yeah.
I was just like,
Maybe it was Death Factor from Omega Red. Or no, I threw him into something. Yeah. And then I interacted again.
yeah, Josh, you play the chudliest Shadowlands Daredevil. I know he's a chudly model in general, but you play him in the most chudliest ways.
it worked like a charm, boy. That was a good list.
I don't really have a specific combo. I do really like Deadline, and I also really like Mayor Fisk. Because there's each of them have like a half dozen missions that are really interesting with them. And like Inhuman Weapons is up there on the list as far as extracts that go well. Legacy Virus is always an easy one because in addition to the mission itself, there's a lot of models that have like ability to either move or target extracts very well. And so like beyond just stealing them, which is also very good, obviously. But there's a lot of ways like Toad can take stuff off. Obviously, Criminals leadership can move stuff around with Kingpin. So there's a lot of ways to really start like threatening to accumulate power on one model. Also, any kaiju type model is really good about going and getting one from an opponent. Like Thanos was king shit of fuck mountain for a long time because you would get one of the legacy viruses early, and then you would just start peppering down the model that they had with one, and then you would just like, okay, cool. So now Thanos is going to teleport Mind Stone, punch you twice, teleport himself away, and then you're gonna later in the turn mission objective the other one to him, and you just like, here you go, buddy, and he would just assemble the cube on the last activation of the turn, and you would score like 6 or 8 points. It was hilarious.
Thanos snap that shit.
Yeah, and so that's one of the reasons they lowered it, is because it used to be instantaneously upon achieving the third one.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't at the end of the round like it is now. So you would just, like, middle of the turn score 8. And if you killed the person with the objective, with Thanos and he was your leader, you would effectively score 9 because of his leadership. And so you would score 9 points in the middle of a turn. Which, for people that don't know, you move your token from the top track to the bottom track and then 1 to the right. It was a crazy number of points.
Ha! That's an interesting way to describe it. I didn't even think about that.
I remember the first time I assembled the cube in the old pack when it was 8 points. I was at 8, and so I killed my opponent's model. I dazed them, picked up the point. I said, okay, so I assembled the cube, and my opponent, who was Jason, was like, okay. And I look over at the scoreboard, and it's at 8. I'm just look back at him, and he's like, okay, go ahead. And I just pick up my token, I just move it down to the bottom track, and then look back at him, and he's like, it's worth 8. It's fucking great. I was like, so I have to get to 16 this round? I was like, no, I win right now because we're not tied. If at any point I have 16 and we're not tied, I win. like, oh, it's just that we score at the same time.
Huh.
Yeah, there was actually a lot of ways you could win the game in the middle of the round before. It's really hard to now. They've cracked down on the out of activation scoring.
Unless you're Web Warriors.
No, I mean, even Web Warriors have a lot of not.
Wakanda has it. Humans have it.
Yeah, Inhumans
what
have
does
a little.
Wakanda have for? Oh, is that you talking about Usurp?
I guess Killmonger has it.
It's just Usurp. Yeah, like Wakanda doesn't really
Yeah.
have it. Interrogate is one, but that obviously happens at the end after normal scoring.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Interrogate can break the tie. So if your opponent's like, I'm going to get to 16, we'll tie. It's like, I interrogate. You're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
But also, if you're part of you getting to 16 is you interrogating, that happens after. So you will actually, I believe you actually lose before you get to the interrogate step.
Because I believe 16 is just
Yeah, game over. So yeah, there used to be Legacy Virus and Thanos' leadership, and there's a couple other like ways that have kind of been tampered down. Anyway,
neat.
are there any bad combinations that you guys dislike?
Yes.
They're specifically the combination, not just like this is the most point scoring possible. Like
Oh.
No, I was gonna say. Well, technically, there's two versions, but I don't think anyone plays Cosmic
samples
Invasion.
and anything. Samples and being alive is my
Samples
least favorite
Samples
combo.
and samples and the 12 secures.
I'll say
Yeah.
Samples and Riots was particularly bad.
Samples and riots. That was bad, but I don't know if it was particularly worse. Like
So the main thing I think that the problem with Samples is that since Riots is also spread out, there's just no way to fucking interact with anything when someone has to drop one of the when someone drops a sample, and it's just to me that was just one of the worst fucking play experiences I've ever had.
that was one of the worst games I think I've ever played of MCP. Was that game we had?
Because you're just like, I drop one and score a point.
Yeah, it's like cool. You daze my character, so I score more point.
Like, I score one less point than.
Yeah, it's like I killed your guy, pick up the point, I score less now, and you're like, what the fuck? It was just so weird.
You had to think about it.
It was so dumb. There were so many just like literally don't play the game is the way you have fun. Anyway, I think like Infinity would actually be worse because bees are actually more spread out and it encourages even less interaction. Can you imagine like I'm going to move away from my secure to go stand next to your model. You will then throw me off the point and I'll lose victory points. Like it's like fuck me. There's like just no reason to ever interact with your opponent. Just both of you just stand there, refuse flank, and just score your points.
Yeah, be like, okay, listen. If we both stand here, we can tie out, get a tiebreaker score, and we'll be set. Next round. Yeah, I think, like I said, there's definitely some things that are left to be desired in this mission pack. There's some. I think there's cool. There's good stuff. Macron, I think, is good. Deadline's awesome. They didn't really do anything with Reds that impressed me.
Reds felt very tame.
The blues got better, maybe.
The biggest hit for Reds was, I believe, Inhuman Weapons, which is not saying a lot. Yeah. I just think it's a fresh take on a centerline extract, but that's about it. Like, it's not winning any competitions. It's just not bad. And as for new missions, I think there's more bad than good. But I think Deadline is amazing. I think it's really interesting. I think it's really fun.
We just
I hope for sure that shape
Hold on. Too many people at once. Shape good?
I think the shape of Deadline, like the compressed ND where you actually can rotate through a lot more. So I hope that something like Deadline stays. If not, maybe Deadline itself. I kind of doubt it. It kind of seems like do a big all of them out, all of them in sort of thing. But the kind of compressed ND, I really like that shape.
Agreed. CJ?
Sorry, I was looking at what actually changed for Reds in this pack.
Not much.
I think it was just losing Researcher and Paranoia.
Yeah, well, Paranoia changed the samples, which was somehow a downgrade.
They figured out how to make it work.
Yeah, Researcher left for, I guess we'll say, Inhuman, and then they added two more, and it was the Terrigen canisters and what's the other one?
The Wedding Guest.
Wedding Guest.
Wedding Guests. Yeah. Okay.
Because originally, before I think there was only 10 extracts.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe I'm misremembering. It was 10 secures, but I thought we had more secures.
They replaced two of them and added two.
Yeah. But actually, I think that there was a huge upside on blues in this new pack because not only is Deadline good, but Imkron is also good.
Yeah, like I said, I think that this was definitely an improve. Like, there's not looking at this. The only blue I think that I dislike is Scoundrels.
Scoundrels is by far my least liked. Wedding Party is in the experimentation phase. I think they just missed on the deployment a little bit. I think they just went a little too conservative. I would like them to change that and then reapproach it later. But other than that, I think when we did our rating, I'm looking at my scores here. I gave everything at least a 4, except for Wedding Party, which again, Habsy's on. It probably could have been a 4. I just haven't played it enough. And then Scoundrels got a 2, only because there is a fresh hell that is a 1 that includes only scientific samples.
No!
Yeah.
Oh.
somehow there's yet a deeper, more seedy version of hell.
Let's see here. I was pretty up on the blues. I didn't like Fisk. Fisk was by 4. It was probably my lowest, and I had a brain fart on Scoundrels.
So our average score on blues was 5.3, which is pretty good.
We were low. Our reds were lower though.
Our reds were only a tenth of a point lower, but that was hugely skewed by certain people not knowing how to rate things. Like if for example, if we just take out Aaron's scores, and then get rid of Josh's erroneous 10, that drops to like 5.2.
What was your highest score?
Do what?
What was your highest score in red?
My highest scoring in red was 9 with Legacy Bears.
That's erroneous. It's probably 4.
I understand that you love I love Researcher, but it's not a 10. It's the mission I have the most. It was the red I had the most fun playing, but it's not a 10. Like, it was arguably noticeably worse than several other missions in the pack, but it is my favorite, and so I just think it's important to separate those two things. Like, I love Van Helsing the movie. It is not a good movie. I love it though.
Oh, you're barking up the wrong tree, Brandon. You're talking to probably the person I think that loves Van Helsing the most.
It's a amazingly fun movie, but it is, if you rank it in cinema, it's somewhere around the 8.3 million range, like on the list of top movies. But I can accept both things being true, right? Like, just because I like something doesn't make it the best thing ever, but it also, me disliking something doesn't make it the worst.
Yeah, it's not a binary.
Yeah, like you
thinking.
could objectively, I could say like 10 things to make Worthy better in your eyes. Like, what we just said, it's a 20-point mission.
It would go to 11.
Exactly, which means it's not a 10 because the scale is to 10. 10
only
is
model.
Perfect cannot be better. Just like 1 is terrible cannot be worse. Like, you could do nothing to samples to make me hate it more. Like, you could make it 100 tokens on the board. I still wouldn't care. It's still the worst mission in the game. Like, there is room for improvement on Worthy Hammers. Like, you could just make it an E. You could, make it inhuman. Like, you could change the deployment in ways that would be more conducive of, like, your playstyle. Like, so because it has room to grow, that is why I would argue it's not a 10. Just because something is the best doesn't make it the highest rating. But I appreciate that you love it.
I love it. I love Hammer so much. He does love it.
And when it first came out, it was the only mission played at the store for like 2 months. Everyone was like, we're just playing Worthy. It's the most fun mission.
I've had one tournament ever where all 4 games I played Hammers. And it was the best tournament I ever had. I had so much fun.
I think I've had like 3 or 4 tournaments where every red I played was Legacy Virus.
I've had something like that.
That was in the Malekith heyday, to be fair, but everyone played Legacy Virus. All right. Sadly, looking at past mission packs, I think this is the least interesting combinations that we've had. Because in the past, we've had Gamma plus Extremis, which is a really interesting game. It's like, am I just going to burn all my power for the whole game to stay at full health? Doing that rat race. I think there was some really interesting, like, Wakandan Herbs missions before it became really abusive. Let's see. I think there was a lot of really interesting Gamma missions when you combine it with anything else.
I
think I agree. There's not as many cool combos or fun combos.
Yeah.
They're all relatively balanced between any two of them, which is probably better, but it's less fun, like you said, than having Gamma and something else and having to figure those out at the same time.
Have you ever played Researcher and Mayor Fisk?
I was about to say that. That's a fun
disaster.
Crazy fun.
Do
the only time it was bad is when Thanos was in the
all
game.
When all 3 get stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, we just make the ultimate objective. It's worth 6
King
points.
King of the Hill, baby.
Yeah. I was gonna say, overall, I mostly like the mission pack. I feel like it's very tame, and it's right there from like just a smidge short of being good, like very good. So I'm hoping to get a little more unhinged in the next one and be bold. Get some spicy missions in there. Don't just make me play box.
So I think the issue with boxes is that they're box shaped, and not so much that they're not interesting. Like if I just told you there's a new mission, it's an E directly across, 3 points straight to your opponent. It's 18 points, has no secondary effect. That would instantly be in every list you play.
Yeah.
Yeah, Exactly. So it's not that they're boxes, or it's not that they're boring. It's that they are boxes. It's like just stop making voids in the center. Now, not every mission needs to be researcher, but also not every mission can be a box. Like we were just talking about, there's only 3 missions that aren't boxes. I guess 4 if you count Scoundrels. Oh, and Wedding Party. I always forget Wedding Party's even a mission.
Mm-hmm.
So there are 7 box missions and 5 not box missions. I would like to see more of the Meteor deployment where it's like a diagonal line. I would even be okay if they did Wedding Party as a offset diagonal, where there's just nothing in the middle. Or we could do Wedding Party with like the evac point is in the center. So like do the Meteors deployment where the outside points are your wedding parties, and then the middle point is the neutral zone that's not scoreable, but if you get your point to within one of it, then it's worth an extra point. So that would prevent the refuse flag strategy, because if one person goes to the middle and the other person doesn't go, you lose. So it forces both people to contest the middle. And maybe you still don't go there, but you have to at least contest it. Your opponent can't go there. It creates interaction, where currently I think Wedding Party there just is none. Because one of the reasons I hate Mutant Madman, despite I liked it when it first came out, is it discourages interaction. If you go across the table to try and take a point and fail, or they just flip it back after you take it, you get punished for trying, because it's going to damage you in addition to the thing. So it's just to make it easier for them to kill you. You are more likely to sacrifice a model, which leaves your back point weaker. So you can create this situation where it's like, okay, well, Beast is going to move across the table, try and overflip 2 people. Guy beats him up, and then the other guy moves over and takes your point. So now, and then Beast dies the fucking objective token. So it's like, great. So I have lost a model, and my opponent got both points. It's like, so why would I try? It just creates, negative reason to go for it. Yeah, so for Wedding Party, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, why would I double move my whole team to stand on top of you and just watch you kill me for a whole round? Just so next turn I can try.
So next turn you can lose.
Yeah, next turn I can start with most of my people dead and try and kill you back. So it's like, unless you have somebody like Malekith that can just cross the table as the last activation. That's why I think like you see models like Namor and Shang-Chi, because it's like, oh, last activation, I'll charge you with Shang-Chi, and then like survive one activation of your guys and then do it again, and then get out. And so it's just really hard to do anything unless you have one of those hyper active models. Okay. So, overarching thoughts on the mission pack? And not just like rating, but like...
Darn it. There goes my
I know. He was going to give it a 10 just to spite me. I know it.
Yeah. Rating, gotcha. No, I think
it has hammers in it, so it's a 10.
Yeah, 10. I think overall, the other thing I think that was kind of it's a minor thing, I guess. I wanted to add this quick addendum. The way they're releasing mission packs now, I do kind of hate.
Well, like once a year, and like it's there until it's over.
And with a character.
Oh, sure. You mean the monetary investment of it?
Yeah.
I think that is, even if that's the company's intent, I don't think anyone's holding anyone to that. Like, I have never seen somebody say, well, you don't have the official mission cards.
No, I still think it's kind of...
I do think it's annoying. Like, I bought the pack, and I was furious when I opened it, and I didn't really think about it. My mind hadn't been on MCP.
Have everything in it.
And I was like, so I don't get the cards? And it's like, well, they've been released elsewhere. It's like, yeah, but you don't produce that anymore. I can't go buy it. Like, you've removed the ability for me to buy your product and then complain when I don't have the products. Like, fuck off. It was very annoying.
That's my other my other kind of point.
You're gonna monetize a fucking piece of paper and charge me a very premium price. What was it, like $60?
Yeah, it's like $55 for just Gladiator, essentially. Because like you could just get.
You're not even gonna give me the cards. Like, I get that you've chosen to put the multiple language cards in there, which I appreciate, right? Like, making the game wider spread throughout the world is a good thing.
Yeah.
But then you're going to turn around and gouge people for like $60 for a card pack and not even give them all the fucking cards. I mean, wasn't the card pack that came out previously like $20 and it had like 3 times the cardboard in it?
Yeah, it is $50 for Gladiator. Who's the most? Mephisto was the most other recent. Mephisto's $35, so there's a $15 increase just to have the Crisis cards.
Yeah, so I would argue that that's not an appropriate price value. Not to mention, I think Gladiator is an okay choice to put him with it, but like, there's no need to. You could have easily just released Gladiator on his own, charged $30 to $50 for him, and then had the card pack be $20. And the fact that you've now tied that card pack to Gladiator means that anyone in the future wanting to buy Gladiator is now going to be upcharged for buying out-of-date mission cards.
Exactly.
It is a very poor release, like logistic situation. Just like we brought up the Dr. Octavius thing. It's so silly now that how do you buy Doc Ock? Because I can only imagine that the Spider Foes affiliation box is going to be discontinued now that 3 of those models are in the Spider Foes core set, right?
I completely forgot there's something I was supposed to look up. I was going to see if Well Laid Plans is in the Spider Foes box.
Oh, did they get announced finally?
I don't know.
I don't know. God, I fucking hope it is. God.
It is.
Are you kidding?
It's confirmed.
Oh my god. Bro, this is such a bra moment. Like, seriously. How the fuck? Like, it's like they did it on purpose. Like, did nobody read their own fucking release? I guess for people
that is just like,
so people have donors. Card. I'm just gonna run through in case people haven't heard the previous situation. So Doc Ock came in the original core set, then they put him in the Rivals pack. Both of those products are no longer in production. So now the only way to buy him is in the Reebok Spider Foes affiliation pack, which comes with, I believe it's Lizard, Craven, Other Criminal, and Doc Ock. As is the original Doc Ock. So then they did the Spider Foes starter set, which has all 3 of those models in it except for Doc Ock. And so if they go with what has been happening with everybody else, they're going to either no longer produce the Spider Foes affiliation pack, which I believe is $60, or they're going to keep producing it despite it containing 3 models that come in the core set. So a new player, only option to get Doc Ock and the other models is to buy the core set to get the other models that are in it, and then also buy the Spider Foes affiliation box, which contains 3 models that come in the core set, to get Doc Ock, which would allow them to play Well Laid Plans that comes in the fucking core set.
Yeah, which at one point was it's a unique card.
It is a good card.
Basically for Spider Foes.
Yes.
It is a unique effect for just Spider Foes. There's one other card that does this, I think.
Shockwave. It's Super Giant and Ebony Maw.
The most played Black Order character, Super Giant.
Super Giant's a good character. I'm serious. I'm not kidding. Why are you looking around?
Oh, I heard. I heard. Yeah, I was waiting for Aaron to hop in the call.
Any character that cannot be killed by Logan in one activation is a good character.
That is true. That is true. Okay, I guess I need to. Well, okay. I guess I need to re-guess what a good character is.
Yeah, I remember when my opponent first realized that my character wasn't a meme because he came into my criminals list with MODOK 2 as the leader. He's like, cool, so I'm going to Tornado Claw into MODOK. He's like, cool, I'm going to sack that to Super Giant. She takes 1 damage. And he's like, huh? And it's like, well, I'll attack her again. She'll die this time. I'm like, sorry, bro. That's not going to happen. Then Perfect. She activates, double heals off of him. I'm like, cool, she's at full. And he's like, what do I do about this? It's like, nothing, your character sucks. It was fucking amazing.
You were character. That's, you know what? Maybe we're wrong. Maybe they did know Logan was bad, and they were just like, guys, we have the answer to Logan. You just are too blind to see it.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Yeah, Supergiant is a niche character, but she is very good in the right situation. She's bad in others, which is fair. Like, she's a 3-point model. She's not supposed to be game breaking, but she has an infinite power well in the right situation. She supports characters with the ability to shunt attacks very well, like a Red Skull or a MODOK. That people that can push attacks onto other people, situationally having a model that cannot be killed, breaks scenarios sometimes. You're like, oh, well, all of a sudden this interaction is completely worthless for you. And so that's a tool that will never get old. When it's the right tool, it is the right tool, and that's why I respect the model. Anyway, not to get off topic. Any Tactics card that can potentially make your opponent drop all of their extracts board wide is undeniably a good card.
Yeah.
Not to mention damaging them in the process.
And to use this one, you have to obtain MCP's most exclusive model,
Dr. Octavius.
The core set, Dr. Octopus.
And so I'm curious if they legitimately forgot that he existed, or just thought there's so many laying in the gutters around town because people threw them out the window of their car because they were so bad that they just assumed nobody would want him.
Or they've been playing it at the offices using well-laid plans and using Doc 2.
So what is the worst part? That they forgot the model exists, or B, thought nobody would ever want him? What's a worse damning thing? That
As
you
a
forgot about one of the
second
first
one.
10
I think the
models?
second one.
Or you've just
Yeah.
abandoned one of your core models that is a fan favorite to time. You're just like, we're never going to worry about this model again.
I think the second one.
That it wouldn't be as bad if Dr. Octopus, the 4 threat, was just Dr. Octopus, the 3 threat, but +1.
Yeah, the fact that only the first Doc can play. Oh my, it's so stupid. The more I think about it, the more angry I get. I can't help it.
They could have fixed it too. They could have just
Just fix it to
FAQ'd it.
auto. Yeah, it's auto. There you go.
Nope. You have to if you brought 4 threat Dr. Octopus and you used Well-Laid Plans, it is too strong.
I
Just wait till they
actually,
add another Green Goblin, and he also can't play it.
man, I just. I actually, the funny thing is, the more you look at his card, going backwards, he's one of those models that ages surprisingly well because his abilities are so like premium, despite being inefficient. And so, like, he has a range 3 throw that's
A good throw.
character or terrain on a 3-point character is crazy good. It's obviously omnidirectional because it's superpower. He has Scientific Hubris, which is good. Wall Crawler is good. He's a 4/3/4, which is fine for defense. He has Flurry, so his wilds count as double hits at range 3, and he has a range 4 Pierce Gun with 6 dice that ignores line of sight and cover. Everything about his kit is good. The problem is he's a 3-point subpar frame because he's an older model. Like, if he just had a new model's like stat efficiency, he'd be great.
Yeah, the only thing he's really missing would be like some sort of dice manipulation mechanic, I think. And then he'd be right there with what they've been releasing nowadays.
I think that would put him in a premium slot even.
But yeah, but something like that maybe. That's the only
Yeah.
thing he's really missing.
Okay.
Or
so-
like some other interaction thing would be neat. Like if he could grab extracts at range 2. There you go.
Oh, just give
for-
him like prehensile.
Yeah, for a power he can grab something from further away because he's got long arms.
I wouldn't even immediately hate that because it would give him a role on the team in addition to just being a interesting model. Because that's the
Yeah.
problem right now is he doesn't fill a role. Like Lizard fills a role because he's the toughest 3-pointer in the game. And then, a lot of criminals do something in that vein. Like, Rhino is the fastest aggro model in the game.
Well, even in the 3s, you got Craven, Mysterio,
Mhm.
and Shocker, who all have various different things they
Yeah.
do.
And Craven is arguably one of the best 3-point combat models in the game. He just has an obviously counterplay pattern, which makes him
Well,
not good.
Yeah, and he's also not he's good, but he's just not like always super duper efficient like Zemo is.
Right, Zemo is just the one without a negative play pattern. Like, if
Yeah.
you understand how Craven works, you can counterplay him, which is what I think a lot of our newer models are missing, is counterplay. It's like, how do you counterplay Namor? Nothing. All of his rules say I ignore all your bullshit. Like, so there's no counterplay. It's like, Craven has counterplay. It's like, I just need to, like, sacrifice my first activation to move out of melee range of you, and now your model sucks.
But got it. Yep.
But as soon as you're like, I'm not willing to sacrifice that activation, I need to do something else with my priority. Well, all of a sudden, now he's worth 4 points. Like,
And now he's frightening.
Exactly. You've turbocharged my model into he's now on the hunt. This is what he does. Now I have all the advantage, and it works. And so right now, the only way to play him is to leverage that as I'm denying you first activation by putting Craven here. Anyway, so final thoughts on Mission Pack, what we would like to see more of. I think we've all agreed we want to see some interesting new missions. I think we're all in agreement that we'd like to see average score go down, or the equivalent, right? The percentage of total points needed scoring per round needs to decrease. Like right now, what's our average points? You said it's a 3.9 and 4.2.
4.2.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that means we're averaging about 8 points a round, which is, I think that's actually skewed because people don't play several of the missions. Like if you go through and you actually look at the breakdown of like play rates,
Yeah.
they're very heavy on like 5 missions on each side. And so I think if you go in and look at those, it's pretty heavily split. There's basically the lowest scoring missions are getting played a lot, the highest scoring missions are getting played a lot. The middles are kind of falling away unless they have like a really good secondary mechanic. So yeah, I think the average scoring is a little north of 8 right now, which is, I think, a problem. Because, let's see, 4.2, 3.9, 8.1. Yeah. It's just too easy for 8 points to swing 5-3, which I think is the average. I think most games, you're going to see a 5-3 split based on prio. And so if you're splitting 5-3, that pretty much puts you on a 3-turn clock. obviously you're going to try
Like
and
you said,
stop them. But I
like
think
we said, like way earlier, you end up where you're technically playing round 4, but it's 14-9,
Mhm.
and there's an extract holder in the corner, and so you have to play it, but the game's effectively over
Yeah.
after 3 because there's just too many points.
I think also like the final scoring of the games, like we look at Longshink's stat a lot. I think it's actually very misleading because a lot of those round 4s that you get are those like 14-8, 14-9 situations where the other person is playing as hyper conservative as possible, giving ground everywhere to just secure the 2 points in the corner that they need and giving everything else away, which ends up then you see scoring the final round goes like 17-14. So it looks closer than it is because they just abandoned their position to guarantee the 2 that they had. And so I think you'll see a lot of final scores that are way closer than the game indicates because of that fake round 4. And also, you're playing a round 4 that doesn't really happen. And so that's saying the average game end is 4. Well, it's really 3 because, the 30% of the games that end on 3 plus like what percentage of the remaining 70% is those fake round 4s. Like it's probably at least 25-30% more.
Yeah.
Zach, you clearly play the most MCP of all of us right now. What do you want to see in next mission pack?
Definitely slightly lower scoring. Yes, Magneto is going to have the scoring. Slightly lower scoring. I think more interaction. I think initially I didn't think about how many boxes there were until you guys really discussed it at length. And yeah, there's definitely too many boxes. Like we need more variety of shapes. I think they need to be closer. You made a good point about like the dead zone in the middle that happens on so many of them, where it's just half of the game is happening on one side, half of the game is happening on the other. There's nothing happening in the middle where like everyone's interacting.
I would just like to point out, because we live in our game is kind of like a range band game. Like the difference between 4 inches and 6 inches is pretty minor, right? It very rarely matters the difference between 4 inches and 6 inches. And so what it's really doing by having those wide spread out boxes is it's putting a super premium on movement stats. And because it's not a granular movement, the difference between speed medium and speed long is huge because it allows you to move from one point to another sometimes. And the difference between speed small and speed medium is crazy because you end up getting into positions where you can't even double move to another point, which is why we have all these old models that don't get played anymore because they don't have the mobility they need to play on the current scenarios. And I think just scrunching them in, like look at the difference between Extremis and Deadline. And that breath of fresh air Deadline was like, oh, this is the same shape, but it's so much more enjoyable. All they did was move 2 of the points.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would very much like to see more of that. Like Imkron. Imkron is just a bee that's shoved into the middle.
Yeah.
Like, let us play the fucking game.
It's great. Yeah. So that's what I'd like to see. More interaction between players. Maybe some more variety on some of with the crises because most of them end up being just this thing that you pick up and carry around and it doesn't really do anything. And sometimes that's good. There's bad secondary effects. But I feel like there's too many of them that it's just okay, this isn't really going to do anything. This is just a thing I'm holding. Like I don't think I've ever I've played Inhuman Weapons a ton of times since they've released it. I've never used the attack. Most of the time, like I played it today, I didn't even remember it had an attack because it's never used. So there's things like that where it's like it's just a thing you're holding, and I'd like to see a little bit more there, but I don't want that to go as far as samples. So there's a happy medium in there somewhere between zero interaction and broken interaction with the crises.
Yeah, I know I've said this before on the cast, but I think there's something to be said for aiming just below average. Because let's say you're shooting for a 6 out of 10 and you miss by 2 points. Well, if you miss 2 points high, you have Cosmic Ghost Rider. If you miss 2 points low, you have Omega Red. It's like, which is worse for the game? Right. Obviously, Cosmic Ghost Rider is worse for the game. And so it's always better to aim low if you're not certain. And so I think a lot of the earlier game was that because they saw how potent Zemo, Black Panther, some of those other early models were. Then you have Hulk in that same group. And for people who don't remember what old Hulk was like, he was like building a Hulk out of duct tape and pushing it at your opponent. It did nothing. Like it was the worst model in the game. He's like physical defense 2, like completely worthless character. Like he was awful. And so like they went through and they reworked him and they fixed him. But for a while, like She-Hulk was twice the character Hulk 1 was. And it was really frustrating. And the people were playing their Hulk on a medium base as She-Hulk for a while. because they so desperately just wanted to put Holt on the
Wow.
table, but his rules were unplayable, and so they fixed that finally, which was nice.
That's crazy.
So anyway, totally agree with everything you said. Anybody else have any thoughts on what we want to see?
Just something sooner than later.
Well, I think we're pretty much scheduled for the pack to come out in January, but I guess that's an assumption I've had in my head that I didn't really think about. So that could be
I think
completely
we'll
wrong.
have all the info. It'll probably be something scrolly like last year, potentially of like this releases
Yeah.
3 weeks before Adepticon or the
Yeah.
week of, but is it illegal or is it not legal? But you've had the cards for a month, but they technically weren't like. Hopefully,
Yeah.
it's not that same mess again. One other thing I thought of, I like the 1 year cycle for them, but I do think they released in roughly February. I would say around August is when it felt like they were starting to get pretty stale. I feel like a little one-time touch-up after 6 months on some of them. Like there's something they could have done to samples a few months ago that would have maybe saved that as something better.
Burn
But I
it.
feel like if they use the first 5 to 6 months of data and see and go, okay, this one's being played way too much. This one's never played. Like there's data available that like a one-time tweak throughout the year is going to keep it fresh. That you're not going to have people play it a ton for 6 months and then just slowly bleed out for the next 6 months until there's a new refresh.
I don't necessarily agree. I do think there's something to be said for emergency changes. Like I think CGR was a justified emergency change. Brothers in Arms I think was a bit excessive. I understand where their head was at. And I think they went too far with that. But for me, I would rather have a moderate to minor imbalance for a year than deal with constant updates. I think anything over moderate, like when it's like, hey, this is clearly the best mission, everyone's playing it, like it's a thing. It's okay that it dominates the meta if it's not oppressive. If it becomes oppressive, you need to change it.
Or just have terrible interactions, like
Yeah.
we talked about with samples. Like samples just has interactions that are bad,
Mhm.
and it's like that could have been fixed, but the cycle that they're on, it's like, well, it's going to be gone in 3 months maybe, so
Yeah.
we'll just leave it.
I mean, also like with their new rule, like Peerless, like that they have not used yet. We could have seen, like, if they really hated that Researcher Brothers in Arms list, just put Researcher and Brothers in Arms on the Peerless list. It's like you cannot play these things together. Stop.
Yeah.
Like just put an end to it. Because in a vacuum, I think they're both fine. It was only a problem like on that mission. And like I think they totally dumpstered, Thor 2, which was sad. I think that model is objectively unplayable unless you're building some weird combo with it. Like that model is no longer worth 7 points. And so I just think that's really sad that people get their new model that they're finally excited for and then they just dumpster it out of nowhere. Like they could probably do with a lighter touch. And I think their philosophy of we want to make as few changes as possible leads to that more often than not. Because they're not going to touch it twice, so they're just going to break it.
Yeah.
Just smash it into tiny pieces and not have to worry about it again. Which I think is a sad way to go about it when one of the biggest selling points of your game is the aesthetic and the IP of it. And so you're not just breaking game pieces, you're breaking people's memories, and that does not sit well with people.
Yeah.
I think that currently what they're trying to do is have like the season that you're talking about be one concurrent season. I think staggering it would be better. Like do maybe, do your fall character update and then do your, spring or winter mission update. And then, maybe do, crisis card update in, the summer. Like stagger them so that way you're building up 8 months of work to release stuff for a month and then be done and then wait for the next year. And so that's just a logistics philosophy of how you want to do it. I'm fine with it either way as long as it's being executed properly. But I feel like what has happened in previous years is that they work really, really hard to try to get everything ready and then try and rush it out the door. And it's not quite there yet. Like we've seen the missions weren't quite ready yet. Like Gladiator isn't going to make it to the stores in time. Like it just seems like they're trying to really line up their dates super hard, and they're not succeeding very well. And so I would rather them just stagger stuff if that's going to fix it. But I don't know that it is what's going to fix it.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm going to give the mission pack a rating. Thumbs down.
Sure.
I like a lot of ideas for this mission pack. Obviously, we've talked about we have missions we like from it. We have missions we don't like from it. I think this is the least interesting mission pack I've ever played with, which is the biggest indictment I think I'll give it. I don't think this mission pack is interesting because I think too many of the missions are samey, and more importantly, I think they all have the same result. Very few mission combinations feel different because even if you pull one of the more interesting missions, if it gets paired with, as Josh put it, boring boxes, it just takes all the fun out of the mission. It's like, oh, cool, we pulled like inhuman weapons, or like, pick the extract you like playing, and it's like, oh, well, but then we got Infinity Formula. Or like, hey, I pulled Deadline, but we got samples. It's like, fuck. Like, so it's just like there's too many poison pills on both sides of the line that aren't bad for the game, but they're just not fun. And so you just end up a lot of samey, boring missions where the game ends on turn 4 and nothing really happens.
I am going to give it a 4 out of 10. I think that there is promise there, but it just wasn't quite met. And as Brandon said, quoting me earlier, I guess, a lot of stuff just feels samey. I feel like I'm playing on the same map over and over again with very similar strategies.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to go into a game to fire the brain on all cylinders and like have a strategy instead of just like, okay, I'm going to put this over here and this over here and this over here, and I deploy roughly the same way every single game with variations. I am hopeful that the next mission pack will mix things up. It will be bold, it will be interesting, and the game will not end on turn 3 because I didn't bring the things to end it on.
Yeah. I see that CJ's over here pressing X to doubt.
Yeah.
He's just violently shaking your head no while he's talking.
I mean, I am hopeful for the X mission pack. That's going to be, it's the thing. And soonish, the thing I'm looking forward most to, because that's the easiest way to breathe new life into the game. I think is just new missions to play on where no one's got it figured out.
Agreed.
If I was to give this mission pack a rating, it would be 2 Doc Ock tentacles out of 4.
Oof. Wouldn't it be out of 8? He has 8 tentacles.
He's only got 4 tentacles.
4.
But he's an octopus.
And 2 arms and 2 legs.
Listen, don't espouse how many arms and legs that Science Squids has. It's
Science Squids.
But yeah, no, there's 2.5. It's we're getting there. I just wish that it's the same thing I kind of have as issue overall with the game is that they play it very safe sometimes, and then something blows up and they go, it's blown up, guys. What do we do?
Oh my god. I'm just noticing that the more I look at this list of extracts, I don't think there's an interesting mission in a lot of them.
Most of them are pretty boring.
Yeah, like looking down. Sadly, the most interesting mission on this list, Josh is going to be so happy. Senators.
Hammers.
I don't think Hammers is an interesting mission. I like it. I don't think it's interesting. It's like,
there's not I don't think anything interesting happens on Hammers that you're probably. That was probably my mistake.
So I think Montesi creates interesting situations, but it's all because of just the imminent danger. I don't think it has anything to do with the mission. It's just like a little bit of the deployment. Same with all of these, honestly. Like none of them are interesting. But then we go to the blue side. I think Mayor Fisk is really interesting. I think Deadline is really interesting. I think Intrusions is really interesting. There's a lot of interesting play patterns there. Like even like Wedding Party is hypothetically good. But then you go back to the red side, you're like, none of these are like they're just points on a tally. Like Zach said, they're tally marks. They don't mean anything.
I do think I hit on that a little bit when I said that the blues were definitely the better part of this mission pack.
Agreed. But like Researcher was like the only interesting mission before that I can think of. Because all the other ones, they were so abusive that they got banned, and Researcher is the same. So.
It could also be that when you pick up a red, it's gone until your character goes away, and the blues have to stay on the field.
Gone until your character goes away.
It's the red disappear. Like your character's holding an extract, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't really do much with it until they get dazed. But a blue has to have an effect that is persistent, and that might be why.
Well, like, yeah, like a lot of the reds, like I guess like Spider, in fact, is probably one of the more interesting. Ooh, Scrolls. Scrolls is interesting.
There you go.
Yeah,
because it's interesting things happen because of Scrolls.
It's like Inhumans, but there's truly imminent danger, like threat environment, like at any moment. God, I remember a game where Jeremy was playing against Spider Foes, and they trapped a random blue near the middle of the board. So the guy walks up, picks up the scroll, fails the roll, gets pushed into the trap, trap explodes, pushes him again, and It's like so his venom ends up like basically in the opponent deployment zone because he's on medium base, so he gets pushed further, and then just immediately dies. Just hand delivered to Scrolls on the opposing side of the board. It was hilarious. Yeah, Scrolls is interesting. I'll give him that one. But again, it's just instant danger is why it's interesting, and that's why so many characters that get played are optimized to either A, pass the roll, or B, have a backup plan. Like you have Toad, you have Juggernaut, you have like, long movers, you have all these models that can effectively ignore the scenario, which is why they get played, is because they have a percentage chance, or they ignore the percentage chance that other people have of just having bad things happen.
Yep.
Yeah. I think
I would give it Infinity Stones out of 6 Infinity Stones.
So,
Like we just talked about.
How many did you say? Did you say 3?
3.
Okay.
3 Infinity Stones out of 6 Infinity Stones. The secures are interesting. There's an extract or two but it's just kind of like half of it is fine or good, and half of it missed the mark a little bit, and hopefully it's a good foundation for next year. But there's definitely some misses in this pack.
Yeah. I like a lot of things about it logistically. I just don't think it's a good finished product. It's a good rough draft. I'm going to give it, like I said, 0 out of 1 thumbs up, but if I gave it a 1 out of 10, it'd probably be like a 4. It's just a little below where like interesting is. I think a lot of it is just kind of like you just play games like they're just not engaging. And I've never been so like whelmed by any of the mission packs before. And there were times when I would say the Crisis State was worse. Like when Thanos was running around on 3-card Monty missions was way worse. When Thanos was king shit a fuck mountain on Researcher, it was worse. Like Hammer, same problem. Guardians Thanos on Hammers was effectively unwinnable, like against that. And so like we don't have that problem now, so that's good. Like, but those were abusive lists on missions, not the mission pack as a whole. And so I just think this mission is just this mission pack is just not interesting, but it has good bones. So I am excited that we have the framework to succeed. I just hope that the next round of missions are more engaging. Arguably, the hard part's done for them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it there. We ran way over on time, but I think we had some good juice going there for a little bit. Anytime I think we're critiquing but not bashing, I think that's good. And so I didn't cut us off. So, but yeah, optimistic for the next pack. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. This has been Brandon.
And Josh.
And CJ.
And Zach.
And you've just listened to Challenger 2025.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.